Hello everyone and welcome to the Switch into Plan B podcast. I'm Jumbo.
And I'm Robin.
And in this one we're going to look into the history of pit stops, answer some of your questions and preview this weekend's British Grand Prix.
Tyres are okay for Plan B.
So Robin, pit stops are quite a big part of modern F1, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
They can make and break your weekend, as Ferrari seem to find out far too often. They just get it wrong, don't they?
Yeah. Strategy-wise, isn't it?
Yeah, I quite like that about F1, that there is quite a lot of strategy. And when I was doing a lot of the history for this, because we are going to go through the history of the pit stops, because it's actually quite interesting.
Right.
But if we start back when F1 started in the 1950s, there's only 2 members that were seen as the pit crew.
Right.
Compared to about 20 odd now.
Yeah, loads now, yeah.
And a pit stop would have taken around about a minute.
Gosh, yeah. But I guess the cars would have been going a lot slower as well.
Yeah, so the cars wouldn't have been as quick. Obviously, like zero safety, basically. But yeah, I had to think that it would have taken a minute for them to do a pit stop. And we're not even talking like a normal pit stop, because back in that time, it seemed to be that they only really like fixed problems. They didn't use it as like a strategy thing. So they just came in for like, if they got a tyre puncture, they would come in and they would do it. Or if they got some sort of damage that they could repair, they would do it.
So the tyres would normally go through the whole
Yeah, they wouldn't even stop
race.
for fuel. I think I've won my notes there. It says that I don't think Fangio was the first one. I think there are some reports saying that some of the Alfa Romeo cars from the sort of 50s, they used to stop for fuel sometimes because they'd run out otherwise.
Okay.
But Fangio was apparently the first driver to intentionally stop in the 1957 German Grand Prix. Now, it turned out that he won that race, and you're thinking, oh, that must have been really advantageous for him. But no, it actually ended up being much slower than if he had actually not stopped at all.
Okay.
That probably just shows how good Fangio was, that he could probably stop.
He just made up time.
Yeah, somehow was that far ahead and
Yeah.
lost time in the pit stops, but still ended up winning.
And at this point, was it still just 2 people?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was only 2 people, but I haven't seen any footage. I don't think there's much footage of it. And the records only say there's only a few people around at that time, because this was a growing sport, as you think like it's a new thing. But this is how it roughly was for the next 3 decades. So people didn't really stop unless they had sort of damaged their car or punctures or something like that. They didn't really stop.
Yeah.
And that was only really until about the 1982 season, where Brabham had their BT50 car. Now, this car seemed to be very thirsty in terms of it was just go through fuel like water, basically. You just drink it.
Very, very sustainable.
Yeah. Obviously, in 1982, things have changed quite a bit since then.
Yeah.
And they actually found that it was quicker to stop, fill up for fuel, and get new tyres, so they could be on a softer compound tyres throughout the race. About halfway through the race, they'd come in and do a pit stop.
Okay.
The footage that I actually saw of this was Nelson Piquet. Now, I'm not sure if he was the first one, but it does seem that in the 1982 Austrian Grand Prix, they didn't even have a timer to actually do when you come into the pit stops now and they've got the timer when they enter it, it's like, it's going to take 19 seconds or something. They've got a top timer for how long they've stopped. This was so rare that this happened. They didn't even have like a stopwatch or anything. No one was expecting it. It just cut to footage and he's just in the pits.
Yeah.
But by my calculations, it seemed to take about 20 to 30 seconds to come in, change the 4 tyres and put some fuel in. Mm-hmm. And that was with around about 11 people in the pit crew.
Okay.
So it's quite a bit bigger than obviously back in the 50s.
Yeah.
But this was quite difficult to tell, because on the footage as well, there's random blokes just standing there and then they get involved and then they kind of step back. Like a terrible experience, basically. If that happened today, that'd be...
Yeah.
I mean, it was almost as bad as McLaren's last weekend, really.
Oh, bless them.
At Canada, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't great to see. But so that was the first sort of what we would call modern day pit stop, I think. So that's 1982. And then a year later in the 83 season, it seems to start being sort of a common occurrence that people would come in and start doing
I guess if people saw that PK's stop was like a good thing to do, then everyone kind of just jumps on it, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, it is literally like, oh, why did we not think of this before?
Yeah.
A year later, though, in the 1984 season, they actually banned refueling.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure why they did this. I couldn't actually work out why. I'm not sure if it was a safety thing or whatever reason it was. But the teams continue to use this strategic pit stop to change tyres and stuff. So it's kind of a bit like where we are now a little bit.
I thought that the refueling was a safety thing because cars ended up being on fire.
Well, it is, because we'll get there.
Oh,
because
right,
they
okay.
actually reintroduced that back in 94.
So that it stopped and then it comes back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think F1 quite likes doing this, where we see even things where like, we now got ground effects back again. It got banned, but then they go, oh, actually, let's bring that back. We used to have slick tyres. They then went, no, we'll have groove tyres. And now we've gone back to slick tyres.
And the same with the pants, fireproof pants. They used to have them apparently, and now they didn't, and now they do again.
Did they actually have to have
Apparently, it's in the rule book that they have to have safety proof pants.
I don't know.
It's just that it hadn't been enforced.
Who knows? But anyway, they seem to make rules
Yeah.
and then go, actually, no, it was quite good before. So I don't know. Well, it chops and changes all the time.
Okay.
But over the sort of the next decade, going back to 1984, so over the next sort of decade, because they weren't allowed to refuel, the pit stops got faster and faster, which actually led to Benetton doing a 3.2 second stop in 1993, which is actually not too bad.
Yeah, it's about an average one nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, because they got a bit slower recently. But then, as you see, 94, we saw refueling brought back. But it didn't take long to see the dangers of refueling, because it was only sort of, I think it was at the German Grand Prix. Read it there. The German Grand Prix of 94, where Jos Verstappen, yes, that's Max Verstappen's dad, his Benetton went up in flames.
Yeah, I know this.
It was quite scary. Even watching the footage now, and you know he's all right. How big that fireball is, just to see an F1 car just like combust, basically.
Yeah.
It was crazy to see. And I was surprised at how quickly they got it out, because like they were just there going with the fire extinguishers. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you would think we've got a really flammable like liquid here. You would expect something to go wrong at some point. So, you know, maybe they were sort of preempting it. But that's what happened in 94.
Which doesn't seem like that far away.
No. Moving on to next season, 1995, this is where the speed limit was actually brought in to the pit lane. So all this time before,
They've just been going at full speed.
you could come in as fast as you want.
That's crazy.
I think there actually was, I was looking through the notes of all this pit lane stuff. Ayrton Senna came in to do a pit stop in British Grand Prix one year when he was at Donington, and actually set the fastest lap by going into the pits, because he went into the pits to do a stop, but then aborted the stop and just continued. But obviously, because there's no speed limit, he just flew through the pits, cut a lot of the track off, and set the fastest lap.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's mad. Like when we see it now, I think some of them, like Silverstone, is even like 37 miles an hour, and that feels really slow. That's breaking the national speed limit. Well, not the national speed limit, but that's breaking the speed limit in most places going around the UK.
Yeah, in more developed places.
Yeah, built up places.
Built
yeah.
up, that's it.
But even so,
Like, not country lanes.
No, but it's 55 miles an hour in most other places as well,
Yeah.
which is faster than 40 miles an hour, which is like dual carriage over here.
Yeah.
That is crazy, isn't it? Like that, they're going so fast in the pit lane.
They're still going really fast to all of a sudden just stop.
That's what I mean. Imagine you're on your hands and knees getting ready to change a tyre, and there's a car coming at you at 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's a bit scary.
That's flipping scary.
And the trust you have to have on the driver as well, because they do just all of a sudden stop and you're right there.
Yeah.
And just put the tyre in. Yeah,
It's crazy, isn't it? I think they are a bit crazy, these
bonkers,
people. Yeah. What else are we up to? So refueling then lasted till 2009, where it was banned yet again, this time due to safety concerns. So obviously that makes sense. I actually think 2008 we had a few incidents where the fuel hose was still attached.
Oh, okay.
And it went down the pit lane, and I think it set Kimi on fire in Brazil, and I think it was Singapore, again it was Ferrari. Massa went off with the hose attached, and I think it hit some people as they went past.
Oh, wow.
The pit lane is absolutely nuts. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like, people have been hit by loads of tyres coming off. And just like, I think it wasn't that long ago where a cameraman got hit by one of the tyres that came off. And that was quite bad. That was a couple of years back.
A cameraman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then they banned cameramen from being in the pit lane unless they were official F1
Right,
people.
okay. And to be fair, we do normally just see... Oh, no, we do see the side as well. I was going to say, we only see
Sometimes they do that fancy drop shot, you know, when it
Yeah,
spins the camera.
yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, we got a fancy cameraman here today.
Yeah. Did you say last week, or was this like off podcast, where you said that there's a fancy shot in each F1 track?
Yeah, there is.
They just add them in somewhere.
There's one cameraman, I'm pretty sure they go, look, free reign, just go and find
It's
something.
Baku where he went in one window.
Yeah, the castle.
And then,
he went running.
And then ran into the other window to see them come out the other side.
Yeah. I think there's one cameraman, they go, you've got free reign here, Kevin, just go nuts.
Yeah.
Do whatever and give us a bell on the walkie-talkies when you've got it.
Yeah.
And I reckon he's like, all right, no worries. I don't know if he's actually called Kevin, but that's his name.
what we've called him.
Cameraman Kev, if you see him around.
He's the creative one.
But yeah, going back to the refueling, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, sorry.
Just to put into perspective how good these fuel pumps were. So a normal fuel pump, when you go to fill up your normal car, will do it in about a litre a second on average, right?
Okay.
The F1 fuel pumps were going at 12 litres a second.
Right, okay.
The way how they engineered this was that I like all this technology stuff. This is why I love F1, because they come up with the craziest stuff and they actually implement it in. But they managed to make a fuel pump where not only did it put the fuel in, but it actually sucked air out of the tank at the same time, which made it
go faster,
go even faster.
Yeah.
So it went at 12 litres a second. Like, just to put that even more into perspective, the average car tank, I sound like a proper nerd, is 60 litres.
Okay.
So it would fill up a normal car in 5 seconds at a fuel pump if we were to use these F1 ones. Imagine being there at 5 seconds.
Yeah. You'd accidentally go over, wouldn't you? Oh, no, they do that.
The stop thing. But what I was thinking, when we used to go and fill up and we would try and, I always used to anyway, try and get it bang on like a number. So it'd be a nice round number. So it'd be like 30 quid or like 40 quid or something like that. You always try and do the game where you get on that. Imagine trying to do that with that.
In 5 seconds.
Well, no, it's not even that. Like, when you've got to do that, you've got to really feather it to try and get it the last little drop.
That's what I mean, because it's 5 seconds.
It would just be like, oh, you've gone from £100 to £1,000 in like half a second. You'd be like, oh no.
It wouldn't be £1,000 to fill the whole car.
Well, it would be at least. Have you seen the fuel prices? Yeah. Anyway, well, where were we? So we've done the fuel.
We were. It was banned.
It was banned. That was
12 litres.
No, we've done that bit. 12 litres being sucked because of the pump. Where am I on my notes? Yeah, so from about 2010 to where we are now, this is kind of what we've known as the modern pit stop. So basically you just do tyres and they seem to be done in around about 2 seconds to do a pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, this year I think most of the circuits have been 3.
They have, but we will get onto that because they changed it a little bit.
I keep getting ahead of myself.
You keep going ahead.
Sorry.
It's fine. But before we move ahead, in 2019, we had the fastest ever pit stop.
Yeah.
What was the team and who... Oh, sorry. What was the team and what was the time?
Yeah, okay. So I think I know this one, but I might be totally off. Is it Red Bull?
It is Red Bull.
At 1.83.
Oh, 1.82.
Oh, my goodness. That's crazy how I was off by 1 second.
Well, not 1 second. 100th of a second.
Yeah.
1.82 seconds. That's you coming in, hitting your marks, all 4 tyres off, all 4 tyres back on, and going. And that's going, and 1, and you've gone.
Yeah.
That is insane. When you actually think about it, that is insane.
That was Max Verstappen, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Do you know the track?
I
was also going to say, there's no way that Red Bull are going to do that for Gasly. I think it might have even been Albon that year, actually. I think they'd already booted out Gasly.
Oh, bless him. No, I don't know the track.
Just give it a guess.
Germany.
No, later in the season.
Spa?
Later. Lewis has just got citizenship.
Oh, Brazil.
Yeah, I think it was Brazilian Grand Prix of 2019. But even so, that's mental how fast that was. But then, moving on to last year, actually, 2021, a new technical directive was issued to slow teams down during pit stops as they believed it was becoming unsafe and too automated. Funny enough, this was also the same season that had one of the longest ever pit stops by Valtteri Bottas's Mercedes crew.
Oh, yeah, that was like 9 seconds, wasn't it?
Longer than that, they didn't actually get the wheel off, so he had to retire.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently, some people were claiming this pit stop is the longest because it took 43 hours to get that wheel nut off. So they're claiming it's a 43-hour pit stop. But I kind of feel like that's not right because as soon as he jumped out of the car, surely that ends that pit stop, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't agree with that.
But even so, 43 hours.
Can't believe it, because they wouldn't have been sitting there trying to get it off for 43 hours.
No.
It They would have left the car and come back to it. So yeah, I don't think it is 43 hours.
No, but I think also the other side that's funny of this, I'm pretty sure Mercedes were one of the teams that tried to get this automation stuff gone, because obviously Red Bull were very good at it. As we said earlier, they did a 1.82 second stop.
Yeah.
So I feel like this was last season when they were trying to get everything sort of...
They were trying to win.
They're trying to do anything to
work,
win.
yeah.
So they were like, oh, we've had the world's worst stop. Red Bull are good at them. Let's try and slow them up a little bit.
Yeah, which I think it kind of gone backwards to all the teams, because now it's like you have to press the button.
Yeah.
And a lot of them forget to do it.
Yeah.
Or it just slows things down. I don't think it's fair also.
But I was actually looking into this. It's even worse than that. So apparently, if you do your pit stop, the wheel gun guy, if he does it in quicker than 0.15 seconds, he has to do it again because they think that's too quick.
That's weird.
So it's not even saying... I don't even know if that's humanly possible, because that is really fast to do it. But think how fast these pneumatic guns are. Like, I don't think that's out of the realm. So it's almost like they've purposely gone, look, you're not allowed to go this fast. And
You're
I think
not allowed to be better than you want at your job.
This is the thing I don't get, and this is why I don't agree with it, because F1 is all about doing everything as fast as possible, and watching them do it crazy quick was actually quite exciting.
It is cool, yeah.
So I was like, you're getting rid of that. And I understand maybe not having stuff aid it, but like just saying to people, no, it's like saying Usain Bolt, you can't run as fast as you can. You've got to run at 95% of your capacity.
Yeah.
That's going to make the sport boring.
There's no point of you trying to put 100% because we're going to stop you from getting there.
I don't fully get it. I think it's more of a tactical ploy, probably by Mercedes, as I say. But
it does seem a bit strange.
You know, and it's not like Mercedes have done this before, or even recently trying to get the whole rules changed or something, is it? So, you know.
Yeah, they're quite just sore losers, aren't they?
I say this, right? They're all terrible, aren't they? Red Bull would be doing it if it was the other way around. Ferrari would be doing it. Ferrari have been caught cheating before.
I know, but I think Ferrari are a little bit quieter when they don't keep up a fuss. They just...
It's only because they haven't been winning.
Yeah, no, what I mean is like, I think the others seem a bit more vocal. I think Ferrari are a bit clever where they kind of team up with other teams.
Yeah, okay, that's what you mean. They're a bit more sneaky.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, maybe. You could say that maybe about Mercedes. Sometimes they're a bit sneaky with like bending the rules and stuff like that. Red Bull are very
very vocal.
Yeah. And very opinionated on they're all opinionated, but we just hear because of
more.
Helmut Marko and Christian Horner just love the media.
That could be it as well.
But anyway, what I was going to say is that I don't understand why they've done this, because with the new tyres and the wheel covers and just everything being bigger this year, they were going to get slower anyway. They weren't going to be able to do it that quick. So I kind of feel like this is weird, and it wouldn't surprise me if in a couple of years this kind of disappears when technology starts to get better and better. I wouldn't surprise me if we go back to look.
Let's bring it back again. Like
let's try and get.
Previously.
I also feel like there's going to be like a diminishing returns. Like, can you actually do it quicker than 1.8 seconds? Like, that's blooming quick. Like, how fast can you actually go?
Yeah.
Because getting it down from like 3 seconds to 1.8, that seemed achievable. But can you get to 1.5? I don't know. That's really quick then.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much the history of it. But of pit stop, sorry. But I do want to have a quick look at the modern pit crew.
Yeah.
So as we said before, we had 2. And then back in the 50s, and then in the 1980s, it seemed to be around 11. I don't think there is a set number that you can have for a pit crew. I couldn't find the exact number. But it does seem that unlike other motorsports, you actually have the same crew for both drivers of your team. So it's not like, I don't know, like we said, Valtteri Bottas, he doesn't have one crew for him, and then Lewis would have had someone else.
I didn't know that. Team. I thought it was different teams.
Yeah, so did I.
Why do they keep messing up Bottas and not Hamilton?
I don't know. But it makes sense that when they double stack, that they're just there and they know what they're doing and things like that. But anyway, the gist of it is that you have 3 members per wheel. So you have one guy that does the wheel guns, obviously tightens and loosens the wheel nut. Yeah. You then have a tyre off guy and a tyre on person. So that's 3 per wheel. So that's 12 members in total. 2 members stabilise the middle of the car when it's in the air. So it's on the jacks, one each side. You actually have someone that holds onto the car so it's not moving. Yeah. And then you have at least 1 member on the front wing. So this can change the downforce level that's coming from the wing. They sometimes have these little guns that go... I don't know if they actually do that noise, but that's what I imagine when I see it. I've just put that in there for some reason. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, I'm pretty sure I've seen when they have to change the wing, it's not just one guy. I've seen it's a few guys that come in. So sometimes I feel like it varies. Yeah. So if they've got to change the front wing, it seems to be more than one. Also, random fact, how much do you reckon a front wing weighs? Bear in mind it's carbon fibre. Quite big, but how much do you reckon it weighs?
Like 5 kilos?
About 10 kilos, apparently.
Okay.
Which is heavier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it is heavier than I thought.
I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere, and it's stuck in my brain, but I may be wrong with that, but I think it's about 10 kilos for a front wing. We also then have 2 on the jack, so 1 on the front, 1 on the rear. Some teams have a spare jack person, so like if one of the rear jacks fails, there's another one coming straight away.
Right.
Same with the front jacks as well. They tend to have a spare one in case it fails. And then you have at least, and I say at least, 1 fire extinguisher. Someone with a fire extinguisher.
Even though we don't have fuel problems.
Still be a running engine though, isn't
I guess,
it?
yeah.
So, so there's always at least 1. Sometimes there's more. But we also have some roles that have been retired. So one of my favourites was the Lollipop Man / woman. I don't know if you ever saw this, but they used to, when you cross the road with school kids and they stand out and go like Gandalf, you shall not pass. It's not quite like that, but they used to guide them in.
Yeah. The green and the red.
Yeah, and then they would flip it over and go get ready and then go and lift it up and they would fly underneath. I used to really enjoy that role because you used to be able to wave the cars in and then you flip it and then I thought it was really cool. But obviously since I think 2013, I've got in my notes here, is when the traffic light system was introduced.
Oh, yeah.
So
you don't need them.
That is a dead role now. There's no Lollipop Man needed. Obviously the refueling team members, they're no longer needed because we don't have refueling at the moment. That may change because it's always something that people want to bring up. Personally, I don't think it's needed refueling. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but people always say, but it added a bit of strategy because the cars could be lighter, so not burning through the tyres, and they're going to be quicker on the track. And you could maybe go long or you could go short. But when I looked at the stats, I think I saw a video by Chain Bear on YouTube. Check out his channel. If you're a bit of a technical nerd like me, loads of stuff on F1 on there. And he sort of explained the stats. And basically most people did the overtaking in the pit stops as opposed to the track. So it didn't actually make the on-track racing any better.
Right, yeah. That makes sense. I kind of feel like we don't need them to start refueling.
I also feel like it kind of goes against this current incentive to try and make them as eco-friendly and as sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, relatable to modern cars as possible. Instead of just burning through fuel, they're trying to be sustainable and trying to be efficient.
But it's also like they can go faster, but do they really need to go faster than they're going? They're going pretty fast already.
Yeah, 180 to 220 miles an hour isn't fast enough apparently. So
yeah.
No, I agree with that. And then the final role that's sort of been eradicated, going back to the roles that have gone, is a starter person. So someone that's going to have, they used to have these big sort of poles that they'd put in the bum of the car to turn over the engine to get it started and fired up.
Oh, okay.
So if the car like stalled, they'd have to manually restart the car, and that's how they would do it. They'd insert this big sort of needle into the car's bum to get it going again. That's the best way I could describe it.
Nice.
But obviously they don't need to do that anymore because the cars have battery packs on them that can start themselves up now. Yeah. So that's why, was it at Baku? I think we had the Mercedes guys at the front of the end of Q1. They just turned off the engine whilst they were waiting for the red flag to finish. And then they'll just start the car and go at the end of the pits where they didn't used to be able to do that. Right, okay. Obviously the tyres go cold, so it's not ideal, but you're not going to...
But the engine...
The engine will be fine.
Will be fine, yeah.
So yeah, that's all the roles we have. But I want to ask this question to you. Which role, if you had to be a pit crew member, which role would you want to do and why?
The jack.
Which one, front or rear?
Front.
You'd want to do front jack?
Yeah.
Now, see, I was going to go for rear jack because I feel like you have an important role. Yeah, you're going to lift up the car. Yeah. Okay. But the reason why I don't want to do front jack is because if you've got a driver like Lance Stroll, he's not going to stop on his marks and he's going to knock you flying like he did a couple of years ago.
I'm not going to work for Stroll.
Lewis did it as well recently, and he's supposedly the greatest of all time statistically.
Right, okay. It was either that or the...
Yeah, the gun.
The gun. But I just worry because the gun is a lot of pressure.
Well, it's not even just a lot of pressure. The amount of torque that goes through your wrists to hold that gun and actually do it must be quite a lot. I would quite like to have a go at the wheel gun.
Yeah, me too.
The role that I would really like, though, is a Lollipop Man. Think how much power you've got. Because, if you're being a bit sneaky, you could go to someone else's box and just wave in another car.
But then your team will get a penalty.
I don't know if it's in the rules. It's gamesmanship.
It would be
Alonso
added to the
would
rules.
definitely do it.
Yeah.
Alonso would definitely do it. That's right up Alonso Street. Maybe he's listening to this and he goes, Alpine, we need to get some...
Lollipop
we
men,
need to get some McLaren lollipops.
Yeah.
Why wave them down? No, I just think that's a great job. But you just have so much power and you feel like Gandalf as well. Like, why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah.
So yeah, rear jack man for me, or lollipop if that was still a thing.
Yeah.
The refueling guys, I think they're nuts.
Yeah, I would not want to. No. There's just fire hazard there. No, thank you.
Yeah, no.
Tires are okay for plan B.
Okay, so the next bit, we've got a question from Brad.
Hello, Brad.
And it says, I've always been impressed by the pit crew carrying wheels and tyres around like they're made of foam. And with the new, larger 2022 tyres, I imagine they're even heavier. Do you know how much they weigh and how they compare to last year? And also, how can I get one to put in the wall in my garage?
Answering that last bit first, getting one for your garage. I don't know if you can actually get... There probably is somewhere where you can actually get them. I assume they're quite expensive.
I think Pirelli take them back.
Pirelli do take them back, but I've seen...
Because it would make sense for them to recycle everything that they could.
They do. But I have seen that Mercedes, I think it was, they've actually turned some of their wheel... I'm not sure if it was the tyres, but they're sort of the actual wheels into sort of like coffee tables that you can buy from like... I want to say it's F1 Experiences or something like that. But they're a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah. It's not the same as having a tyre with the wheel.
No.
Like from, say,
but also
Lewis's 100th win. Like that's quite a cool thing.
Do you know what I do like?
Have,
the little
it?
Pirelli fastest lap ones.
Signed
Someone
ones.
must be able to get those. I've actually seen there's another YouTube channel. You wouldn't believe I'm a YouTuber, would you? Because I know all these YouTube channels. Matt Ames, he's got a YouTube channel. It's quite interesting about F1. Again, go and check it out if you haven't. And he actually makes a little Pirelli tyre. He actually makes it from scratch. So obviously you could maybe make one. I don't know.
I don't know. It's not... it's not the same.
No, I know. But I reckon you could get hold of one. Pirelli must make those mini ones. Like they do mini helmets and stuff. Like you must be able to get one somewhere.
Yeah.
I haven't actually looked into that. I'm tempted because that would be quite cool to have just lying around.
Yeah.
But going back to you asking about the wheels, Brad.
I thought it was quite an interesting question, actually, because I hadn't thought about the fact that they weigh quite a lot, which they probably do.
They do. I've got the numbers.
Okay, that's fine.
So
go for it.
The 2022 wheels, the front wheels weigh 12.5 kgs and the rears weigh 14.5 kgs. So obviously the rear wheels are bigger. But
that's like 2 cats and then 2.5 cats.
Depends how fat your cat is. I don't think you can generalise.
Our cat was quite fat.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not a relative term, is it? No one knows what our cat looked like.
But that's my way of seeing how things weigh. Is
how much did he weigh?
About 6.
He was a fat boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're not that light. So they do lug them around, like Brad said, like they're foam, but then they're really not. But the 22 wheel is 2.5 kgs more, obviously going up from 13 inches to 18 inches. That's 2.5 kg more just for one wheel.
Yeah.
The wheel cover is 500 grams more. So the really ugly wheel cover is half a kilo more. And then the new tyres, despite it being a slightly thinner profile, is actually 200 grams more than last year as well. So that's per wheel. They are 3.2 kgs heavier than last year. So that is quite a bit. Like, bear in mind, that's like a 33% increase on the front wheel in weight.
Half a cat.
Or half a cat. Thanks, Robin.
Sorry.
What about a dog? How much does a dog weigh?
Well, that really depends. Cats are kind of the same sort of size, all of them, aren't they? Whereas dogs, they vary so much.
But does like a fluffy cat, would a fluffy cat weigh more?
No.
Do you not think?
No.
I don't know. If someone's got a fluffy cat and then a normal cat, like not a long-haired cat.
The hair doesn't weigh that much, I don't think.
You'd be surprised.
Maybe, but I don't think it'd be that big a difference.
I don't know. But anyway, that is, the wheels definitely are heavier this year.
And like carrying around 12 kilos is like quite a bit to just be throwing them around as if they're nothing.
The thing is, it's not like that's 12 bags of sugar. Like it's in a big tyre shape. Like that's actually quite difficult just to move around. I think the actual tyre weighs like 9.5 kg.
Yeah.
So that's quite a lot of just weight, isn't it, already?
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Brad, for that question. If you have a question that you'd like us to answer, you can get it in on YouTube or on Instagram. So if you've got any questions that you'd like us to answer in the next pod, chuck them in there and we will answer them for next week.
And now we have our jingle.
We do. So moving on to this week's Grand Prix at Britain. Before we do win or lose a surprise, obviously we still haven't got a jingle because I don't want to sing.
And I haven't really thought of what we could do for it.
I don't know. Until we think of something good. Maybe if someone thinks of a good win or lose a surprise jingle, you can send it in and we'll see if it works.
Otherwise, it would just be insert jingle here.
Yeah, insert jingle, yeah. Anyway, Silverstone.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this rank for you in terms of do you like the British Grand Prix weekend or is it a bit meh?
I feel like I'm supposed to say yes, I like it because we are in Britain.
I don't know. I'm fairly sat on the wall here because people make it out like it's really good.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I actually think the track's quite good. It's got a little bit of everything. And you also get the weather, British summer, it rains. The likelihood of it raining is probably quite high. So that always spices it up a little bit. But I just feel like
it has been raining a lot lately.
It doesn't have, for me, it doesn't have the magic like a Spa. Or
Right.
even like a Monaco. For me, Monaco, there's something more special about Monaco. I know you hate Monaco. I can just see your face going, flipping at Monaco. But there's something about those two tracks for me that I'm just like, these are so good. And it kind of fits into, I'm happy with it. I don't mind this track at all. But I wouldn't put it up there with one of the greats for me.
Is it just because F1 started in Britain and so the British track is seen as home track, if that makes sense?
Yeah, maybe. And I mean, there's a lot of fans that go to Silverstone.
Yeah.
It's one of the popular races because obviously there's a lot of fans in, 7 teams based in the UK as well. So a lot of teams see it as almost a home race for them or a second home race for them.
Yeah. And we've got 3/4 British drivers.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot of popularity around it. I understand it. I don't know. I mean, it's probably going to be a great one, and I'm going to be like, this track is amazing when we do the review next week. But I don't know. For me, it's in the middle. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing for me. It's
not my favourite, but it's okay. Yeah. But again, Baku's normally my favourite, and it wasn't that great this year. So
no. And I mean,
maybe this one will be better.
The last 2 British Grand Prix, we've had Lewis on the last lap lose his tyre and cross the finish line with 3 wheels, basically.
Yeah, and Bottas had to retire just before.
Yeah, and then obviously last year was when the championship fight went into feisty Red Bull Mercedes going at each other. That's sort of where it all started, the nasty tension when Lewis and Max collided.
And then Max was out and Lewis stayed in.
Yeah.
And Lewis won.
Yeah, and I just, I look back and I think that was where it all blew up, wasn't it? That's where it got really nasty. Maybe we'll have something like that this year. I don't know. Leclerc and Max. To be honest,
I don't know.
I think Leclerc might be out of this already.
Yeah, I think so. I also don't think that the car is good enough.
It's definitely between the Red Bulls, isn't it?
To beat Red Bull, sorry. So and yeah, it makes it a little bit boring if that's what it's going to be. I kind of want it to be a fight to the last race. It's more exciting.
Yeah, it's much more exciting, aren't we?
But yeah, so predictions.
Yeah, we got a bit sidetracked there, didn't we? Winner. Who is going to win, Robin?
So I've seen a post that Hamilton has apparently won the 10th race of the season for the past 3 or 4 seasons.
All right.
And this week is the 10th race.
It is, yeah.
So I wanted to say Hamilton, but knowing how crap their car is this year.
Yeah, it is really bad.
I thought I'll go for a bit more of a safer bet. So I said Leclerc. That doesn't mean that he's going to get anywhere near championship though, because there's still quite a lot of points between them.
Yeah, there is a lot of points. Although, as you say, we're not even halfway through the season yet. It could easily go back the other way.
It could, and Lewis did that last year. He was really really
turned
behind
at this point, yeah.
and then started winning loads of races.
There is
and
quite a lot of similarities to this season to last season because, Red Bull went on a 5 or 6 race win streak.
Yeah.
They've done the same thing again now.
Yeah, they have. So it's more about whether Ferrari managed to up their game or not.
But I mean, Max has got a big advantage. And I'm about 95%, actually more than that, I'm 99% sure that Max is going to win this because I think he's borderline untouchable at the moment. He's so fast. He's in the best car.
Yeah.
And if he's half on it,
He also doesn't make mistakes,
He doesn't really make mistakes, does he?
which is really good, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's going to win it. But for the sake of the championship, I've gone with Checo, just because I think he's probably the next closest person, I think.
He is. And him winning would kind of level it off a little bit, as in he'd get closer to Max and make it a bit more of a competition. But we know.
Checo had a DNF last week, so Max has got to have a DNF just to bring it back. And Checo's got to win just to bring it back to where it was going into last weekend at Canada.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be tough. But anyway, I've gone for Checo, you've gone for Charles Leclerc. Moving on to loser. Who have you gone for as loser of the British Grand Prix?
So I haven't picked my normal people.
No?
I picked Gasly this week. Because I feel like he's had such a terrible season this year. They're just not doing very well. AlphaTauri just don't seem to be doing great. And
we've seen a glimpse of it at Baku, didn't we? And that was about it.
Yeah. He's driving well. I just feel like the car probably doesn't have enough oomph.
Yeah. And he's there next season as well, at least.
Yeah.
So,
which means they're either promising that they'll develop the car. 'Cause I don't know if a driver would really want to be in a team when they know that it's so rubbish.
I feel like with Gasly, though, I think he's almost missed out. You think McLaren's got Lando.
Yeah.
Russell's at Mercedes. Leclerc and Sainz technically are at Ferrari, and then you've got Max at Red Bull. Pierre's not getting back in that Red Bull. I don't know who keeps stringing him on that he's going to get in the Red Bull, but he's not. So he needs to move.
Yeah.
And he kind of needs to do a sideways move, almost to like an Alpine or a McLaren or something like that, to see if he would
Alpine would be good.
Get anywhere. But I don't know. I'd quite like him at McLaren. I quite like that rumour going around about him going to McLaren, because I think he would push Lando more than Ricciardo has, because I feel like something's wrong with Ricciardo at McLaren. I don't know what it is. It seemed perfect on paper, but it's not.
He's
not
not
right,
yeah,
is it?
he's not getting the car, and he needs to go into a car that he gets better. I agree with that.
So you've gone Gasly.
Yeah.
I've gone for another Frenchman. I've gone for Ocon. I feel like
bad week for the French.
Well, I feel like he's had an unbelievable start to the season for
been doing really well. Yeah.
I like to think that I'm probably wrong with this, because I think that he might have even just turned the corner and is just at a solid level now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel like at some point he's going to have a bad result in there. Maybe this is this weekend, round 10. He's just going to a little dip in his season, maybe.
Yeah.
Especially with like Alonso starting to find his feet again now. I think that maybe Ocon might just have an off weekend.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of pressure because Alonso's doing so well. I don't know. Yeah, I could see that.
And then moving on to the final bit, the surprise of the weekend.
Oh, I've just seen what you've put. That's sad. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I've gone with George Russell to not get a top 5.
No, we want him to stay with the streak.
I know, but part of me goes, it's got to come to an end at some point.
No, not this week.
That Mercedes, it's always. You think
that will be a loser, though. If he then doesn't get his streak on home race.
I know it's a loser, but it's also a surprise, though. You'd be surprised. Like, you think how consistent he's been.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a surprise. And also, I feel like whenever we've said, it's their home race, let's hope they do well, and then it all goes wrong.
Yeah.
It will be something like, I don't know, the Mercedes will split in half due to bouncing or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It'll be something like that. Or he'll do one of the experiments that Lewis has been doing during the beginning half the season, and all of a sudden, I don't know, his wheel nuts stuck on or something like that, like Bottas. It'll be something like that. I just feel like...
not necessarily Russell's fault, but
and
something stupid.
It'll just come to the end. Of course, it will be this weekend when it's your home Grand Prix, you want to do well, and it just goes wrong. I mean, look at Charles. Just want to cry into your pillow, don't you?
I think... But I think he's used to it, because it's kind of like the curse of Monaco for Charles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, even non-F1 driving, he's crashed cars.
What, he's crashed his, like, everyday car?
No, but it was like...
the historic. He crashed Niki Lauda's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just unlucky, because there's oil on the track, apparently, that came up from the car before.
I know, but what I'm saying is, it's like a curse, isn't it?
Yeah, Vecna.
Not Vecna's curse. I've gone with Norris on podium, which is, I think, kind of wishful thinking, because I don't see it happening, but it would be a surprise if he was.
It would be a surprise.
Yeah.
It'd be wicked as well. Home Grand Prix. It goes against everything I've just said.
Yeah.
Home Grand Prix, yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
So what we want is Hamilton to win, Norris to be on podium, and Russell to not be top 5.
No, because you haven't gone for a winner as Hamilton.
Oh no, I went for Leclerc, sorry. Never mind.
You've already contradicted yourself again in the same podcast. It's like last week, you were like, so I expected Aston Martin, what was it? You said that they were going to have a bad weekend. You thought, yeah, they've done really well. I was like, no, you didn't. You didn't think they were going to do well. They've done terrible. I think we have short-term memory loss in this.
Yeah.
Who are
Maybe
you again?
we should record the podcast earlier in the day.
All right. So that is our winner-loser surprise. That will go up on the Saturday around qualifying because we get them in early. So we don't actually know what happens in qualifying. And then normally our predictions have already gone wrong by the time qualifying comes round.
I know. But there's always the race.
But then even so, like in qualifying, Alonso is P2.
Yeah.
And then he came like P9 at the end of the last race. So even if you thought Alonso was going to do well based on qualifying, do you see what I mean? Like you still can't really get it right. No one really knows what's going to happen.
No.
We're just chucking random stuff out there and just seeing what sticks.
Yeah, I normally just pick, who haven't I picked for a while? I'll pick this person this week.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, so moving on to the final section, Fantasy F1. Now, it's been a little while since we've had a look at this. I
kind of been avoiding it, to be honest.
I was looking at my team, and I didn't even know this because I was like, it's annoying. I couldn't put Max as my turbo driver. But I didn't even know this rule existed. You can't have, your turbo driver can't be a driver worth more than 20 million in value.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I didn't. Why didn't you tell me that?
I didn't know that you didn't know.
I didn't know. I didn't read the rules properly.
I did because I had never done fantasy before, so I read all the rules.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I've done the football one. I thought, that's fine. You can put captain on anyone.
Can you?
Yeah, but on this one you can't.
Even
So
the goalie.
I've left it as Leclerc.
Yeah. I've left it as whoever I had last time.
Yeah.
I've not logged in because I keep forgetting my password.
It's all right. I don't think it's going to make too much difference. If we make changes, it all goes wrong anyway.
It does.
So I've kind of gone with that theory and I've kept my team exactly the same because I just feel like anytime we do anything, it's going to go terrible. But I am just looking at the standings because this is the interesting bit. So we've got Fato Wolf by Ben. He's still in P1. Carlos Sainz in with Dexo in P2. He's only 23 points behind Ben now. He's really caught up at Dexo there. Eddie P3. Is in P3. Still doing quite well, to be fair. I'm still P4 somehow. No idea how I'm there. Giuliano is in P5. Robin, you're in P6.
P6.
Brad, who we got a question from, he's only, 205 points behind you now. He's closing in. Bearing in mind, I think you had a 6 race head start.
I know.
So Brad is rapidly closing in despite his team name being totally fine with last place. But he's not last because Ross has joined and he's well off the pace, but we're just happy that Ross is in there.
Yeah.
And just having a good time in there. He actually had quite a good result by the looks of it. 231 points.
Far from top Rari.
Yeah, that's not bad. So yeah, if you want to join the Fantasy League, it's not taken very serious. As far as I'm aware, there's no forfeit for coming last.
I hope not, because that's obviously going to be me.
But yeah, if you want to join it, there is a link in the description below, and join it. And then, yeah, you can all just see how good or how bad everyone gets on. It's just a bit of a laugh, really.
And our predictions don't relate to the fantasy.
No, they never do. We always say things and we contradict it with our fantasy.
The thing is with fantasy, I can't have the drivers that I want because there's money restrictions.
Yeah.
And I'm scared of losing the ones that I have in there because they'll do well if I
took Alonso out and he's all of a sudden found his form again, hasn't he? Thanks,
he
Fernando.
only did get P9, so it's not like you lost.
He qualified P2. You get points for qualifying.
Points, yeah. Because I don't know.
Although I'm happy with Seb because I feel like that green red ball is gonna start doing well. It's gonna start paying dividends, I think.
I started the year with Aston Martin as my team.
And now look where you are.
I lost loads of points.
They've only just really started to turn the corner there, haven't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. I think we're all done.
Yeah.
What was this one? I was on pit stops. I totally forgot. I lost track of what we actually did on. So it was on pit stops. I actually found it quite interesting.
Yeah, it was quite interesting.
There's some stuff in there that I didn't actually know. I did also find a few great facts about Nigel Mansell in Portugal in, I think it was 89. He missed his pit box, so then decided to reverse. in the pit lane to go
Right.
back to his pit box. They did the stop and he went back out. Got disqualified because he reversed on the track.
Yeah.
Pit lane, whatever you want to call it. Ignored the black flags to disqualify him and then proceeded into crashing into Ayrton Senna.
Right, okay.
I thought that was just hilarious. And then also, Nigel Mansell in 1991 at Portugal again.
Not his race, not his track,
I think he hates Portugal,
Yeah.
Nigel Mansell now.
I quite like it.
So he went into the pits again, another pit stop. He went in, they did his stop, he left, the tyre came off, right? So he's only got 3 wheels on it. The pit crew went and got the tyre. Bear in mind, he's stuck in the middle of the pit lane. They went and got the tyre, put it on, he left the pits and then got disqualified.
Oh, bless him.
He must hate Portugal.
Yeah.
He must hate Portugal. So he got disqualified from the same race twice in 3 years.
Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
That is quite impressive.
That's another random fact I found out about pit stops out there. Anyway, that's enough of me yapping on. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, give it a rating wherever you're listening to. We're on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon. Are we on Google? There is a Google podcast or something, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't normally check that one, but we are on there.
I don't even know if I've never really seen that advertised, but we're everywhere. If you go on our website, we're on our website as well. You can listen to it pretty much everywhere. There's no excuse for missing out any episode. So
Exactly.
if you want to listen, you can listen to us anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, enjoy the British Grand Prix this coming weekend, and we will do a race review of that. And yeah, take care, everyone.
See ya.
Tires are okay for plan B.